We have New Zealand, France for you coming up in just a moment's time. Well, we're in Catalan country for this one. New Zealand with 4 changes from their battle of the ditch with Australia last Thursday here. Up front, Xavier Numia is in for Rob Cobb at loose head, whilst Will Tucker will provide valuable height in the line-out. For France, well, they have 1 enforced change, also at loose head. Jean-Baptiste Gros into a power-packed front row with Marchand and Bamba. They've got power plenty in that back row too, where Walkie and Joseph have been making the headlines. 2 playmakers there in Intermac and Carbonell. So the Stade Aimé Giral filling up. It's going to be fever pitch, that's for sure. This will be a welcome like no other that these young men have received. Hopes are high, of course, that the home team can get to their first ever final. For those in black, well, they are holding out that they can take the same trophy back in their hand luggage come next Monday. Hopes, belief, dreams, all awash in those young heads right now, making it very difficult to focus, maybe difficult to take it all in, to comprehend the enormity of this occasion. Yes, they've won 6 Nations, they've won Oceania Championships, but this is going to be a huge difference for this group wearing white and group wearing black. Delighted to have Carl Tanana, the former New Zealand Sevens captain, alongside me. Carl, when you look at those young men, what they're going through right now, this is a huge, huge test.
Oh, most definitely, Simon. Bonsoir to everyone here and everyone watching around the world. This is the first taste of real top-line footy. These, as a New Zealand player, is one of the hardest games to play. France, in France, absolutely brilliant. They'll live physically the home side. They'll ride the emotion of the anthem and the crowd, which is absolutely heaving.
Yeah, they have to put the handbrakes on for now, because first we have the formalities, the anthems. For France, of course, La Marseillaise, which will follow the visitors' anthem, God Defend New Zealand.
Ladies and gentlemen, please now stand up for the national anthems. Mesdames et messieurs, merci de vous lever pour les hymnes nationaux. Tout d'abord, en l'honneur de l'équipe de Nouvelle-Zélande, in honor of the team of New Zealand, God Defend New Zealand.
Kia ora.
maintenant, en l'honneur de l'équipe de France, in honor of the French team, la Marseillaise.
A huge surge of emotion amplified by this capacity crowd here at the Stade Émile Giral. Difficult to control for some, but they're going to have lots of new tests through the course of the next hour and a half. Tradition continued now as New Zealand present their cultural challenge, laying down the haka. The challenge laid down to the challengers. Carl, who are the key components tonight within these two groups?
Well, for New Zealand, the guy that led the haka down there in jersey number 6, Redline Kappa. He's a guy who's an enforcer and a leader of men. And in the backs, look out, the guy in jersey number 12, Scott Gregory. He's got all-round skill, which will make him the complete package. On the French side, I don't think you go any further than the number 8, Jordan Joseph, one of the best running meters in this competition, the top and only forward in the top 10. And in the back line, I think this guy's going to be an absolute superstar in jersey number 15, Clement Laporte. The first game, he absolutely ripped up, and I think on this stage, he's going to do it again.
So many young, aspiring stars to look out for in both groups. There's an aspiring referee. Hard to think Carl Dixon, 15, 14 months ago, was actually still playing the game professionally in the UK, such as his fast track and his rising star. He takes control of this semi-final. Well, 12 months ago, these two tangled in Tbilisi at this same stage. New Zealand taking the game on the way to lifting the trophy, but that is history. This is about new history as New Zealand and France strive to write their own pages in their nation's rugby almanac. Any great sporting contest, you want a question mark as to the outcome. This has probably got at least two. Get comfortable. I've got a feeling this could be a classic. Carbonell looking to get his back row involved as quickly as possible, and that back row conflict really between these two teams will be absolutely pivotal to the flow of the game. We've seen how they both like to play so far as Entomac goes wandering down that left flank. That easy stride reminiscent of his father, who of course represented his country so many times. Pass not helping. Jean-Baptiste Gros there, and New Zealand quick to snaffle their first possession. Xavier Rowe getting the call this evening instead of Jay Renton. Ball back in the hands of France with Cameron Walkie, allowing his captain Coville to make some headway down that right flank.
Well, a good start by the home team. There was one dusty pass there, they turned it over, but a loose carry by Harry Plummer gave back the ball to this French team. Here it is here, takes it into contact, good up top. There's Walkie with the turnover, long strides of a tall number 7, isn't he? And there's a nice box kick into the corner, pressure on the throw, New Zealand.
Yeah, 6'5" Cameron Walkie, and rangy with it. Reminds me of Sekou Makalu, the young Stade Francais French international back row. That same capacity to seemingly eat up the ground and do all the hard work as well. Flynn Thomas, the Southland hooker, with his first line out. Darts on fire for Lachlan McQuarnell. So his dad told me that's how you say his name.
Advantage.
And I will always do what the dad says.
I got him. I just wanted to see if he wanted to retreat.
Well, interesting that New Zealand go to the short line out straight away, anticipating Walkies come through the line out, so they just absorbed that and got the easy penalty.
Yeah, just outside.
Good relieving one too from New Zealand.
You look at the stats going into this game, and of course they only tell you so much, but we've got the top two teams in terms of clean breaks, in terms of meters made, defenders beaten and offloads. That gives you a fair indicator of how they like to play their game.
Yeah, very good line out there from New Zealand. So they go short again.
Plenty of tall timber in that New Zealand line out. Once again, it's McQuarnell. This time Devon Flanders looks to drive, make a little headway around the short side. Plummer moves it quickly out to Billy Proctor. Some burly citizens in there in that New Zealand midfield, but the presentation is not good enough. And Arthur Coville tries to get his team on the move, opts for the kick, and maybe in retrospect wishes he hadn't taken that one.
I don't mind the quick tap and speed of play. He didn't need to take it that close to the line though. He had some good ball runners outside him. To Covell, the captain.
Have a look.
That's what they need to do, I think. Play the game at pace. Keep New Zealand off balance. Here's the turnover here. Went all a bit lateral to Billy Proctor, and they had numbers to the breakdown. They're keen, the French.
Well, the adrenaline will be coursing through those young bodies right now. It's a matter then of controlling it, getting your head in gear and putting into practice what they've been preparing for this game.
New Zealand, another 4-man line out, but McQuarnell's been a target.
And is again, but this time not hit. Rescued though by Scott Gregory.
Let go.
As I say, plenty of physicality in that New Zealand 12 and 13 link. Flanders. Rowe invites Flair to test out the French defence. A little dab through. Angle not quite what I think Billy Proctor was looking for.
I wanted it to go a little bit long and off the side of his boot.
Down the exit, please.
Or Billy Proctor. Both teams sort of still finding their way into this game. The New Zealand runners just a little bit passive in their contact, whereas I think the French side, especially Bamboo's been very prominent in the head-up and very good. Joseph now is going to leave the line up, go right out to the midfield of this French team.
Guillaume Marchand, the Toulouse 2, with his first line out. Slap back rather messily from Woki, but rescued by the French halfbacks. Coville gets the call from his hooker. Throwing it, tempting those French forwards through. Luckily for France, it was Gerassi who had the arm stretched out to pull that one back in. New Zealand holding firm just inside the French half for now.
You can see Bamba there just using his hands. No release in the tackle though. There's the call from the referee, Will Tucker from New Zealand.
Number 5.
Second row, the one being singled out.
Yeah, Will Tucker following in the rather large footsteps, I suspect, of older brother James. Played in this tournament a few years back, 2014, he was in the mix.
Come. Here.
Here's the good tackle there. Geez, I'm not quite sure about that one. Here's the big contact, Numir driving in.
France going with the full option package for this line out. Gerassi letting Woki jump behind him.
Same ball.
Driving maul forms. Both of these teams have come out of the block so quickly in every game, scored a try inside the first 5 minutes. So this is relatively new territory for either side, as the French forwards try and flex their muscles early doors. Demba Bamba. There's power if you want it. Plenty of it, backed up by Leveau. The only ever present starter in this French group in these first 4 games. And for the first time in this match, France take a look inside the New Zealand 22 with intent. Cavanel thinks twice about throwing that long pass. It's very windy here, and those long passes may not have the accuracy that they're looking for. Bamba, 9 carries against South Africa in that last match. What a remarkable match that was. The offload is there from Joseph, but Barassi cannot hold on to the ball. The crowd around think that Joseph was, well, in fact, the early tackle came in. Barassi, your call here, Carl.
Well, firstly, this is the strong run of Joseph. Nah, nothing wrong with that. Sorry.
Is he okay?
No, nothing to be sorry about. Absolutely right call, and New Zealand making sure they cover all bases with that little spurt of French attack, but they are still going to be under the cosh with this line-out on their own 5.
What I like about this French attack, though, is the one-off runners getting in behind the defence of New Zealand. It's very spread. I think it's very smart tactics initially from the home team. They made a lot of yards, and finally when they got close to the line, getting players such as Jordan Joseph involved, I think is good. Now, this is the area I think France will really test New Zealand. I think France's scrum is better than NZ, so this is a pressure cooker and a good template to see how New Zealand will stand up.
So the big boys are about to find out what they've got in store for the rest of the 70-plus minutes in this particular engagement. Xavier Rowe, the man with the ball in his hands. Clean hook from Thomas, but the release is not clean. Jean-Baptiste Gros, or maybe Demba Bamba being told he was wrongly aligned on that drive.
Well, I eat my words. The New Zealand front 5 doing some good work there. Put their studs in and just absorb the French pressure. We all know how the French love to scrum. That's a good confidence boost for that All Black front row.
I know you can only tell so much from stats, but that confused me when I saw that the French scrum was supposedly only 81% efficient and only Wales had a worse scrummage, because we've seen before how dominant they can be. That is not the kick that New Zealand wanted, though.
Look at how the New Zealand front row just got underneath and pushed straight through that French four-pack. This guy's been heavily involved. Demba Bamba already making a lot of yards, been very, very prominent in this guy in jersey number 8. Look at the strength.
Listen, lads.
Yeah, Jordan Joseph has been the subject of much conversation over the last 2 weeks as the rest of the world discovers what France have got in the pipeline. Good take this time from Rudliger Kappa. And it's efficient, effective exit from Devon Flanders. Rowe, one of the substitutes in that last game against Australia that wasn't utilised off the bench, getting the call over Jay Renton. Coach Craig Philpott said he's the right man to play against France.
He loves his work around the tight stuff, but now I just get the feeling this French team, you just start getting some points here. The longer they stay down here and the longer New Zealand are able to keep them out, the less confidence this French team will have. They need something.
Again, it's Woki at the front. Again, the ball is taken on. Doesn't quite make the headway. And again, that left-handed pass from Coville not finding its target. That's twice now. He sent a bouncing bomb out to those backs. And this time, New Zealand can make the most of it.
Well, with that dusty pass, what it's allowed is the New Zealand defence to come and smother that guy, Jordan Joseph, who had no real opportunity, no space to work, and his body position was high.
It's okay.
Now scrum number 2. If they can get parity at least here in New Zealand, there's options both ways. There it is, good pickup. Look at the work of Scott Gregory in tandem with Harry Plummer. And that guy again, the captain, Christie, getting amongst it.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Well, New Zealand managing to hold on to their own ball, trying to work it through the hands. Plummer having to run back into the heavy traffic.
No, don't touch.
His half-back partner just waiting till the forwards are there.
No, I said don't touch.
Again, the scrum half pass, not what they were looking for. McQuarnell sets it back once again for Rowe, and this time back in the pocket is Harry Plummer. Sends it downtown, but it's going to come back express pace. Clement Laporte. We talk a lot about the New Zealand back three, and rightly so, because there's such brilliant talent. But this French back three can probably match them.
It's advantage, you were stripped forward. Just a scrum
picks up
advantage. Just a scrum.
The strip there. Woki uses that tall frame to release Barassi. Bamba losing the ball in the contact, and Numia it is who breaks away. Up to halfway go New Zealand.
Oh man.
Yet to get the chance to really show what their attack's about, and it's an attack that's produced the most tries in this tournament. 19 times they've got over the whitewash. But such has been France's domination through the first quarter of an hour, we've yet to see it.
Inside or out?
I think the thing is, though, now New Zealand starting to get into their work, starting to get their runners going, starting to combine with their backs. Scott Gregory over the ball, getting the turnover right there. Now there's a lot of hands on hips from some of these big French boys, still taking a long time to get back.
There's Will Tucker, reinserted into this starting 15, scored the first of New Zealand's tries in this campaign against Japan.
Last time. He needs to get numbers right. It's 3 in or out.
Referee Dixon just trying to confirm the setup for this line-out. Marchand. This is where the efficiency has to be absolutely paramount. But New Zealand makes sure that that ball isn't going to come back quickly, and this is the first real opportunity for New Zealand in opposition territory.
Yeah, you look at the work of Lachlan Quinnell, the number 4. Sooner was the more areas with his hands on his head, just comes over and flops on the side. Reading the cuppa, doing outstanding, takes him down. Look at some more right there, he just closes it off. Once it's more, you do not have to move, that's fine.
Savvy work from the Waikato second row.
Not a problem. Time off.
Talking to his dad previous to this, and he was hoping for a big game from his boy. He had to admit that he hadn't been shown as much as he would have liked through the opening games. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. And when you're 6'7", 112 kilos, if you can show in those sort of tight areas, that is a good portent maybe of things to come.
Yeah, it's just that game within a game, isn't it? This is what's very impressive with this New Zealand under-20 team. Their game now, their game sense is very good. Interested to see if they can try and get the ball to Caleb Clark on the left wing. He's an absolute superstar. Been here before last year in Georgia. Eligible next year as well. They've got to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, New Zealand.
Pack weights listed at 186 kilos for New Zealand, 179 for France. So 1.5, 1.6 kilos a man advantage for the home team. But technique, of course, plays a big part in those engagements. That pass not quite working as Sullivan came off his wing, looking to add the extra man. Waylon Sullivan back in the starting group for this one.
Well, there's the guy they're trying to get the ball to, Caleb Clark. I think the option was the backdoor move to Vitamoni Kaloi, going through the hole. Pocket just wasn't able to connect. One, missed 2, in behind, trying to hit the blind side winger.
I'll find you.
Just lack of communication there, just rush of blood, the timing.
Maybe a few nerves playing into the early attacking synchronisation for the Baby Blacks there. Joseph picks up and feeds out to Tauzin. Luca Tauzin, the Toulouse flyer, rated as the next Gael Fickou by the local scribes. And now that, of course, Fickou is going to be wearing Stade Francais colours next season, Kevin. This may be opportunity knocks for him. From a club perspective, a lateral pass to say the least from Carbonell.
Thank you.
Officials happy with it. Intermac steps in as that second receiver, and that's the value of having those two playmakers that can link and interchange with equal vivacity, the way that the French fly halves play.
Advantage, offside.
There is Intermac coming round to release. Joseph puts it out to Tauzin.
No, 6.
Good sound defence, but once again, it's Joseph on the march, so difficult. Bamba with the follow-up. France once again making some headway towards that New Zealand 22. Good tackle coming in from Proctor. Not allowing Intermac to any leeway there. Marchand made that early break in the South Africa game, which was quite electric. But on this occasion, not able to get the ball back to his teammates, and the moment's gone.
Tabita Mafaleo, jersey number 3. There he is there, the big man. Getting over that ball. It's a couple times now New Zealand have been able to do that, so the French support players just a step too slow. Unfortunate, because they're looking good on that far side of the field. Found a couple of holes in that New Zealand defence. The game being played in the middle of the field so far. New Zealand have not even been in the French 22 as yet. Maybe now, for 2 seconds.
No, it's coming back, and it'll come back from the boot of Laporte, though he plays that one like I play my golf shots, and that's not quite what he was looking for, certainly in terms of distance. The wind is blowing into his face. It's a bit gusty, it's turning around, and the forecast was for 50-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow. Maybe this is an hors d'oeuvre for that, but At least it's staying dry. Those threatened lightning and thunderstorms have not appeared. We had a few showers earlier on today, but generally speaking, this pitch should be in prime condition. Sullivan happy to do the hard yards.
Your own man there.
Thomas.
3.
Rowe, the spark plug really for this New Zealand attack, and his speed of delivery from the breakdowns will be vital. Steele has gone on there. Not quite sure who nicked it, but France don't care because Bamber is going to try and work them away from their own 22. Coville gets the call from Laporte. The Agen fullback up to halfway. Had plenty of experience for Philippe Seller's side in Europe and the top 14, as have many of these lads in white. Out to Tauzin. Lebel tries to feed inside. New Zealand quick to get that black line back in position. Well, this is nip and tuck. End of the first quarter, no points on the board. France with all the possession, but they'll look at that scoreboard and say 0-0.
Yeah, good scramble defence from this All Black under-20s team. Mick Quinnell.
We've got to get our timing
Xavier Rowe.
We've got to get our timing
getting
right.
over the
We're
ball.
good at the moment. Just be careful.
Big shots being put on.
Timing,
That was a nice bit of skill from the second rower, Thomas
Just making sure we get the time of the tackle right.
That last raid down this near side. Very impressive for a big man.
Time's off, time's off.
Here's the initial break. Laporte,
Captain.
just so good, so smooth, isn't he, in his running? I like the way he didn't try and offload it, kept his composure, set it up nice. He knew he had reinforcements coming.
Make
That's
sure we get
the release I was talking about from Lovell.
Okay? Yeah. Get our
That's where
timing
Sullivan,
right.
I think, hurt his shoulder.
I'll do the same to them.
Look at this tackle coming in here.
Time back on. Hold it.
Well, the French fans showing a little frustration, I think, with the stats that you can see, having not produced anything on the scoreboard as yet.
Okay.
But patience is going to be a virtue this evening, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing. This is why it's called a test match. It's not a 10-minute or even 60-minute. Might go, it's definitely going to go the 80 minutes to try to win, you know. So that's the thing they have to learn.
And that's what Tom Christie said after that game against Australia. You know, we want to learn, we want to find out how to improve, we want to test ourselves. That's why you have to play test matches, and we saw it in the Australian game. We've seen it in many games already through the course of the first 3 match days in this tournament. Tim Thomas already debuted for the Southland Stags in the Mitre 10 Cup this season, in the Highlanders training squad as well. But that line-out not going to plan. Big hit coming through, double hit from Gregory and his captain Christie. Whoa, sit down, sir.
Well, this is what Scott Gregory can do. He's got 2 very big shoulders. Look at him here, just lower and drive, and also good technique from Tom Christie. When you're in that position, you lose all your power.
Thank you.
Anthony Berrier just catching his breath a little bit, understandably there. The Grenoble flanker just working out what's going to happen next time he gets the ball.
Last time New Zealand are in this position, they went 8-9 to the right-hand side where Harry Plummer is. They've got the numerical advantage on the other side. They can manipulate it with a 4-on-3.
Well, the French forwards getting the push on there. The ball goes loose. Rowe, it is who picks up the scraps, and Gregory helps his teammate out. Gregory, delighted to be here, had a bit injury problems back last year. Wasn't quite sure it was a late call-up to this group, but has already showed his value inside the first 23 minutes of this game, as well as before, of course. Numia sets it back for his half-backs again. The transference is quick, but that white line up in the ball carrier's face every time.
Yeah, great line speed, wasn't it? Just shutting down the decision time. Very hard for Flynn Thomas. The hooker to pass that ball on because of that great line speed. Look at it here, all connected, all shifting. Good team structure.
The ball coming off Romain Ntamak, I think, and into touch, which is going to give New Zealand were put into this scrum.
Well, the thing at the minute for this New Zealand team, the ball's been slow at the base of the ruck, so it's very tough for them to get the back line involved because they're very flat as well. And if you're flat in the back line, you actually need to go forward better when you're running. So this is what New Zealand start wanting to achieve. Proctor very flat, either to hit up or go in behind him.
Second surge almost coming on from the French 8, but it's quickly whisked out to Caleb Clark. First signs we've seen of the 7 superstar. He's not well enough to play in the Wales game, but thankfully back in that 11 jersey for the Baby Blacks tonight.
Push.
On the charge comes McQuinnell as the forwards gather around him, Rowe looking at the options, peeling back to that short side. There's another Sevens wonder, Philemoni Karoy.
No.
Always a threat in tight spaces, always seems to see the gaps before anybody else knows they're there.
He clearly released the ball.
Well, the steal there from Joseph. That's not the first time that's happened this evening. The stab through from Carbonell. It's a foot race. Great work from Flynn Thomas, the hooker, doing very well to recover that ball. But France swamping through. New Zealand losing their discipline. Penalty to the home side.
Well, good stuff from Jordan Joseph. Not only great with ball in hand, but great on the defensive side of the ball as well, the big number 8. And then I like the option from Louis Carbonell, realising that Philemoni Karoy was caught out of position. He was on the wrong side of the field because of the turnover. They're going to go to the sideline too, not for goal. There we go.
Yeah, I think the wind may have played a factor in that it's so strong into French faces right now. But maybe they want to make a bigger mark on this match right now.
Where you are. Stay where you are. On your front man, please.
So, a big moment in this game as we approach the half-hour mark.
And it's Thomas Leval making the calls on the line out. He's going to go into the number 2 jumper.
In 7.
That's the bunny ball. Usually they did a drive earlier on in the game, which was very effective. Do they go there again?
Wocky's been the target so often in this game, but he's not the target now. He comes round to secure the ball.
Backwards.
The French forwards find forward gear, and the move is on. Backs called in to augment this drive towards that first try.
Use.
Level. They drive almost, but not quite. New Zealand staying defiant on their own try line. But this New Zealand defence under duress as France hammer at the door. They're over, but they've turned turtle on Gerasi. First impressions was that they got him on his back. Let's have a call here.
Easy.
Xavier Rowe got under this. I think we're just making sure.
No, please. I haven't seen a grounding. Okay. If there's no grounding, we're just going to go for held up. Scrum 5.
Well, these moments in a game as tight as this looks like it's going to be are massive. As I say, my first instinct was that the French vice-captain got turned turtle there. Yeah, Rowe with his hands underneath, that's got nowhere near the turf.
Well, it's going to be a 5-metre scrum to France.
Okay, Carl, yeah, it's held up, so it's scrum 5.
Hold up.
So, nothing on that one, but this ain't finished yet.
Time off still.
Thomas getting a bit of repair work. Just, you look at this, Carl, and you know that psychologically, yes, it will appear on the scoreboard if France get over, but psychologically, this will have ramifications into the rest of the game.
Yep, I got it.
because of the way that this game seems to be panning out already.
I'm just thinking about the confidence that this French team would have gotten after that.
On the 5, please.
Good line out and B, rolling more. And C, this is where they're so good. If they get a good scrum here, look out for Jordan Joseph. He will be a handful if he's able to get a steady platform to launch off here.
The tricolours bedecking this wonderful stadium. The Bear Pit, as it used to be known, finding its growl once again as France look to get their first score on the scoreboard in this semi-final. Joseph takes it in his mitt, drives for glory. 110 kilos on the hoof, is stopped just short though. Coville out to Berrier. So many options, so many battering rams for France to use.
Step.
New Zealand scavenging around the breakdown, but illegally
Hands
so.
on the ground. Count to as good
There's
to
Sebastian
first, then you put your hands on the
Piccaroni.
ground after.
Just wondering what the next call is going to be.
Well, they have to
Number
keep their
12 and number
discipline here.
7.
This New Zealand team and this
Hands
end of
on
the
the
field,
ground.
that's a couple now. It's hands on the ground. The counter-ruck was okay, but once your hands are on the ground, you have to get out of there.
And discipline has been an issue. 5 yellow cards so far for New Zealand, the most of any team in this tournament coming into today's play.
I think defensively, though, Simon, New Zealand will be pretty happy to concede the 3 rather than the 7. So I think this is a win for their strong D so far. They've been knocking at the door, as you said, time and time and time again. There it is there. Geez, I don't know. I think that's quite rough from the point of New Zealand. That was knocked out by France. Holy smokes.
Louis Carbonell looking to make the most of this opportunity. 17 points he amassed in that remarkable game against South Africa. Tends to share the kicking duties with Romain Ntamak. But the Toulon Tyro taking first dibs.
I think this will be a fair reflection if it is successful. Very handy to the post. I don't want to put the mocker on Carbonell. I just think the way France has really controlled this game with their possession, probably deserve this.
Carbonell on target as France break their bagel after half an hour. Certain sense of relief in the stands. I'm sure, you know, the team will believe that, well, we've got going now. But as you say, when you've had 57% possession and you've had to wait this long to get on the board.
And that's the thing, you've got to start coming away with points, start compiling. You can see even their body language running back to halfway, very positive, the French team.
Laporte sets it up. Ntamak thinks better of the boot. Ntamak has this capacity, this wonderful balance. As I say, reminiscent so much of his father, obviously in different positions. When he's under pressure, seems to be able to just slalom his way almost out of danger. Kamawaki, a little bit more direct. Carbonell releases Joseph again. Came from the Massey club, which has produced a fair few big destructive weapons. Mathieu Bastareaud comes to mind. Good interplay, good offloading as well. Barassi taking France once again towards that New Zealand 22. Turnover is there though. Great work from Lucid Numia. And Plummer it is who sends it towards Perpignan town centre. Laporte with plenty of time. Trying to keep that kick low. He hasn't seemed to make the sweetest of strikes so far. Willemani Karoy. Everybody senses danger when Karoy's on the ball. Proctor. Forwards getting in the way of the outside centre. And again, the breakdown work of France, and their number 8 pays dividends.
His second one for the match. Jordan Joseph. It's unfortunate for New Zealand there, and Proctor in particular, because he had an opportunity. If he got it wide, there was some space, but the French team finding a bit of joy on their right-hand side of the field, making a lot of yards through Joseph and the right-hand winger Tozan as well.
Yeah, Joseph, who was recently signed to join Racing in Paris for next season, just 17 years of age, precocious talent, precocious power really, much like, you know, Ntamak and many of these guys that just seem to be coming through earlier, younger, with such a fantastic skill set.
Oh, he's a physical specimen, that's for sure.
So, line out ball. Not going straight though for Guillaume Marchand.
Oh, that's so tough, and you see the wind just going out of their French team after such good work at the breakdown. Nice kick out, and then to have that happen, that's your guaranteed ball that you must have, line out time, but so good. The series too, this French team.
Just saw in that picture the posts moving substantially now as this wind picks up a bit.
New Zealand looking set to run here, very flat in their alignment. Croy's really up in the line, basically in line with the second five, Scott Gregory.
Power coming through the French 8, but the release is there for New Zealand. There is Croy, the New Zealand fullback, trying to make some headway up to halfway. Again, France line speed very quick out of the blocks. Plummer inviting his forwards to see if they can make a dent in the white wall. Gregory. Well, Plummer trying to get the ball through, but the ball has gone forward out of the contact, and here is a chance for France to get going. Carbonell opting to try and send Croy back to his own line. Coville chests it down and then says to his number 8, right, come on, take the handbrake off. Let's see what you got. Bamba does the same. Tozan gets the call coming in from Gerassi. The crowd trying to make their voices count now as we look into the last 5 minutes of this first half. Joseph staying strong, the ball's still there for Coville. Ntamak, his back's just getting out of alignment, so having to take that contact. 5 and 6 once again being involved for France as they peel around the corner with Bemba. Tozan cuts back in, looking for the weaker shoulders. New Zealand sticking to their task so far. Gerassi, the Grenoble second row, working so hard. Joseph tries to wind it up again, but loses the ball in contact. And it's there for Rowe to slam away. New Zealand just trying to catch their breath. Carbonell has a black wall in front of him. He's going to have to be careful here he doesn't get isolated. And that's what comes to pass.
Plummer over the ball, I think it was. Excuse me, it was Rowe, the number 9. And they go quick through Proctor.
Proctor trying to release that back line, catching France unawares, but they're up quickly as the passing doesn't allow Caleb Clark to get on the front foot. Clark having to work very hard at that breakdown. Croy getting involved there.
Yeah, clean out past the ruck is way too far from Croy. You cannot do that.
And the officials are very hot on that. in this tournament. Alan Roland has made sure that anything like that is penalised,
Time off, please.
which effectively
There's a
stops the
take-up
flow
by
of the
Black.
game.
Pass the ball, so
Here's
your
the
penalty.
turnover. Good one-on-one tackle by
Time
Clark.
still
A
off.
couple of nice passes right there. First
Thank you,
Joseph and then Bamba to get it all started. Tozon has been heavily involved with the second row as well.
It was a take-out beyond the
Val.
to ground.
This is where the
Nothing's in the course, it's just a penalty.
French team just got mixed up amongst each other a little bit, and the turnover came with Rowe.
Sean, here. Time back on.
I think this might be a
Take
big
out
moment
beyond the ball.
in this half, I'll be honest. Bit of Monaco, they had control of the ball, they had their line out set, didn't need to do it. I think this might be a bit of a momentum shift just before the half.
Yeah, big psychological pluses to be gained in the last 2.5 minutes
Right there.
of this half. If either team can get a score on the board now, then who knows what's possible when we get back after the break.
Huge telling stat too, 12 offloads for France and 0 for New Zealand. New Zealand opting just to take the hit up and keep it close. France trying to be more expensive.
Ball hasn't been thrown yet. Back 10.
But it also
These two?
indicates the fact that
1, 2,
New
3, 4,
Zealand haven't had that much opportunity or ball to really fire their attacking game. We haven't seen it, certainly not in the opposition half, and they've yet to get in the opposition 22. And here we are coming up to half-time. Joseph allows his captain to release the backline. Coville looking for the call, gets it from Barassi. Gregory takes his man down, but the ball is still there as France transfer, looking for the change of focus in the attack. Coville. Berrier finding no way through there. Tozan again, happy to do that hard yards, those practical bits and pieces for his team. Cornell coming through almost without a ticket there, sent back. As once again, the French forwards try and man up and make a half metre every time around the fringe. Machon.
It's all right, let go.
Coville.
Use.
Just checking out the geography of everybody right now, and Tamak has no support, nobody to play off him.
Tackle now.
Big cuddle coming in from Riedlinger Kappa, but the ball's still there for the home side as they continue to batter against the Baby Blacks wall into the final minute of this first half. The little dab through. It's there, but just dropped by Mathis Lavelle. Oh, how big could that be? The Toulouse winger got the call from his fly half. It was on, it was happening, and it was fingertips away from the first try.
Oh, this is the moment I was talking about. The kick pass, absolutely on point by Carbon now, was the right option. They're up quickly, great line speed. He had it. He had a look at the line before securing the ball. That's 101.
You knocked on into touch, will be their line out. Yes, there'll be a line out.
Unfortunate for the young man. Unfortunate.
That's what I'm
Yeah, he's going to have to try and banish that from the front of his head, certainly for the next 40 minutes or so.
Okay.
I must say, though,
stand back on, please.
Attack-wise, this French team, when Intermac got the ball, there was absolutely nothing doing, and then they took a couple of runners going up. But cover now. Absolutely brilliant vision for the young first five.
Last play of the first half, and a real pressure line out for New Zealand. They work it, it happens, the captain calls it. Tom Christie sets it back. Rowe and Plummer decide, right, let's get in the hutches and talk about it. What a game. I know the scoreboard only shows one score, but that has been fascinating viewing. Just the solitary penalty from Carbonell splitting the teams. Half-time in this Cup semi-final. France just with their noses in front, 3 points to 0.
No, no, 7. You're a part of it. First man stole it. What's it? Time's off. Time's off. Captain! Let's just make sure we get any off the ball stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Get our timing right.
Okay.
Okay? I'll do the same to them. Short! Release! Time off. Time off. Time off. Easy.
Scrum 5.
Hold up. Step. Release! Hands away, no clear release. Lay down. We take the line out. We take the line out. Be a
rappeler que la billetterie cette fois-ci est ouverte, la billetterie pour la tournée d'automne du 15 tricolore, le 35 du Sud, le samedi 9 novembre au Stade de France, et au Stade Pierre-Mauroy-Lille le samedi 17 novembre, pour le 30 Argentine et les derniers matchs de France, Fidji le 21 novembre, à nouveau au Stade de France. Allez, on est parti sur des images encore de rugby, pour rugby, dans ce championnat du monde de moins de 20 ans. Ce sont les meilleurs moments de la 3e journée hollandaise.
Welcome back to the Stade Émile Giral, where we've had an arm wrestle of a first half that France have dominated in terms of possession, but only had that solitary score on the board. The prize, of course, a final ticket to meet England in Béziers on Sunday. It's an encounter that, of course, New Zealand have got used to over the years. 6 times they've won this tournament in the previous 10 editions. How do they change things in this second half to make sure they're going to get a chance of a 7th before the end of this match? We're in Catalan country, where rugby interest is rife right now, of course, with Perpignan having recently won promotion back to the top 14. So the Sangueor, their blood and gold colours, will be mixing with the tricolour tonight, providing a kaleidoscopic backdrop to this game. Plenty of travelling fans here too, from the land of the long white cloud. They've really had to work hard though to make themselves heard. They're in the minority, no question about that. We've been having chats with them before the game. They're here from Dunedin, Southland, Rotorua, Napier, Invercargill, Auckland, Waikato, both islands well represented, albeit there's only 40 in the New Zealand under-20s support crew as they tag themselves. But they'll be hoping their team can turn things round now in this second half. So, France playing with the wind at their backs. 40 minutes before they can make their first ever journey to a final in this tournament. New Zealand will have plenty to say before that whistle goes, though, as Villemoni Karoi tries to fire New Zealand onto the attack from the word go. Fascinating to see tactically, Cartonano, what difference Craig Philpott and, of course, Sebastian Piccaroni makes to their sides, if at all.
Well, I think already you can see New Zealand looking to be a bit more expansive, using the short side to draw numbers and then open up the whole side of the field. And already they've had some couple of strong runs and used the breeze.
Plummer finding that that breeze is quite strong. And when it's going to come back with a vengeance from Clement Laporte, you've got to be very careful where you position those kicks. Bamba, I'm not sure we can call him La Bamba, let's call him Le Bamba, because he really is making a big impact on this game in the loose and, of course, in the set piece as well. The brief, tight head. Pick up from Jarassi, the vice-captain. Got through a mountain of work in that first half. All the little pick and drives, all the hard yards, and believe me, every inch, every half yard is so hard fought in this game thus far. Carbonell,
Is that high, please?
too long fly half. Opting to try and test out that fringe defence.
Perfect, thank you.
He's had plenty of New Zealand influence, made his debut with Marnonu and Malakai Fekatoa outside him for Toulon. Coville gets the call from his tight head once again.
Not on the ball.
France looking at the short side in terms of numbers, just 3 outside here with Barassi leading the way. Now the forwards get another go with Cameron Woki.
Tackle, release.
The Bordeaux back rower providing the ball for Jarassi to get them into the opposition 22. Intermac trying to sidle his way through that gap. France trying to pick things up as they enter the red zone, as the coaches call it. Gros scored that try against South Africa in the second half. The little offload is opening the door for Lebel. How desperate would he be to get over the line after that last result? Is there for Intermac. Finishing prowess is obviously in the family. Intermac does the job for France, and after 43 minutes of this game, we get our first try.
And it was an inside ball that was causing The defence of New Zealand, all sorts of problems. Rushing up the line speed has been good, but look at the way they're so spread. And that inside line that was taken, he absorbs the hit coming in. And then Roma Intamak finishes it off. Look at that nice pass by Cabral now. This is the run from Lebel. Sets it up beautifully. And then there's the second one. You can see him there yelling on the inside. Look at that. Good balance from the young man. First try, you betcha, #1.
Try against South Africa, try against Ireland, and now a try against New Zealand. He's big news in French rugby. Romain Ntamak, and making a big impact already in this second half. Looks like Mathys Lebel got issues there as he took the contact.
I reckon this kid here, though, he's the one that's really stepped up, being the general, especially at the start of the second half, having his big ball runners. I like the way they were going up the middle of the park, using their one-off runners. Then they had guys off him. He was very spread, so the defence had to spread, and then he had those options on the inside. Definitely, you talk about tactics, I think that's one straight away they've changed.
Carbonell takes France into double figures 5 minutes into this second half. Mathys Lebel is not going to be able to take any further part, though. Presumably Maxime Mati will come on.
I think he's already come.
Yes, just looking, Mati. Famous Pepinot rugby name, of course. I'm assured he's not related to David Mati. Already had some big plays in that opening game. So disappointment for Mathys Lebel, but joy for his team.
Hey!
For the first time in this match, they've got a little bit of security, but I emphasise the word little.
Inside.
35 minutes of rugby ahead of them, and it's going to be a big ask as Devon Flanders comes through. Nothing wrong with it, says referee Dixon. Dixon, who refereed that Australia game here for New Zealand last week, also refereed France against Ireland, so both teams will know his style. Ntamak slams the ball away. Plummer just weighs up the options. Caleb Clark on his shoulder, but opts to take the contact and is stripped. And suddenly Coville spots huge gaps down that right flank. Karoy has to scuttle back. Well-weighted kick from the French captain, but here comes Karoy. Offloads to his hooker. And France quick to lasso New Zealand inside their own 22. Gregory makes the gain, though. McQuarnell doing lots of work on that pick and drive front. Thomas. New Zealand being forced to go from deep once again.
Let go.
Yet to get over the French 22 in the entire match, can you believe? Sound tackling from the home side as Waukee tries to influence the breakdown. Makes the judgment call and pulls away from it. As New Zealand work their way up over the 10-metre line once again. Waikato second row doing some of the hard yards, joined by Will Tucker. Karoy trying to slide it through, and nonchalant kick through. Doesn't get any gains for his team.
Feet now, White. No! 7. No!
People trying to tiptoe around that breakdown area. Desperately trying to stay onside. Plummer's pass obviously forward to officials and French fans alike.
Yeah, just a bit flat on the outside was Flynn Thomas. Just got caught up a little bit at their last breakdown. As we see Lebel, unfortunate for the young man, really started that movement for that first try for his country.
Yeah, as disappointed as he no doubt was with that try that he couldn't capitalise on the end of the first half. Great credit to him for ultimately providing the opportunity for Ntamak in the second.
Yeah, great resilience shown by the young man. As New Zealand needs some changes. Coming on, jersey 22, Caleb Trask. So 21 also, Jay Renton's about to enter the field too. Gregory's one's going to come off in the midfield. Trust me.
Good.
Well, Craig Philpott
Stand back
trying
on.
to change the rhythm of this game early on in the
Okay.
second half
Stand back off.
with a change at inside centre and scrum half. Don't see any injury issues there.
Rose off as well, the number 9. Had a very good first half, the young man, couple of turnovers. They need something, I just feel. Here, Simon, this New Zealand team, they do need to change it up. They do need to stop the flow of this French team. We've definitely got momentum in this game.
Crouch! Bind!
Look at those, yeah, look at those tackles from New Zealand, 117. Be interesting to see how that pays out in the last 20 minutes. If they get fatigued, the 20 missed tackles, that's probably the concerning things. A lot of those 20, I think 10 of them come in the last bit where the French team got their score.
And we highlighted the offload game that both of these teams like to play before the game started. You look at that particular stat, France with 13, New Zealand with 3, and that's as big an indicator as the way that this has gone so far. Big shove from the French 8. They get the call as well. Well, that is a significant moment in this game. See Seone Asi on into that New Zealand front row.
What do you do here? Do you go the line out? If you get the kick, they'll probably take. Still keep it within 2 scores. So here's the power, here's the French scrum that we knew was going to turn up at some stage. New Zealand been good in their first 40 minutes, but now those changes have to reset. Very tough kick though. One is tricky.
Well, Carbonell should get a little bit of help in terms of the distance, but in terms of the direction, it's awkward to say the least.
Looks like quite a composed young man, doesn't he? Louis Carbonell.
Carbonell finds the target as the Stade Émile Giral celebrates more points for their team. Well, he made his debut for Toulon at the tender age of 18 last November when the autumn internationals took away Belot, Tranduk. I think Wisniewski was injured, and he showed what he was about then. He is a class act already. He's only 19 years of age, mind. Well, New Zealand have to find some response. Still half an hour of the game to go, of course. Can the bench make a difference, or will somebody already out there be able to step up and provide that little moment of magic to get them into danger territory? Familiar soundtrack to French performances, with the Marseillaise ringing out loud and proud around this stadium. Oh, interception almost from Gerasi.
He was in a realistic chance of catching the ball, so it's just a knock-on.
They just look off their game a little bit, though, this New Zealand team. A lot of hands on hips. Orders being barked, but they just look a step behind for mine. They have all night long. This is now what you have to deal with. The home crowd, they got to sniff, they got the momentum, they're starting to sing.
Well, let's just emphasise where France are and where they expect to be. Yes, they won the Six Nations on points difference from England, but in the terms of this tournament, came fourth last year. That was the 3rd time they've come fourth, and they've never got further. They've never been able to pick up a medal. So the ambition is there. The public belief is there, and when you see performances from their pack, you realise it's got validity.
Well, the self-belief is there now, isn't it? Especially up front.
Time off.
The Sharks are starting to circle. Look at that there. They can smell blood in the water, that's for sure, and they nail it home in this scrum. Look at that capitulation by New Zealand.
Okay, no problem.
Very tough. Look at him there. He's had a big night, big boy. Demba Bamba.
119 kilos on the hoop, and when he makes an impact, boy, does he make an impact.
I think fatigue's starting to tell on this New Zealand team, though. Just the weight of defence that they had to do in that 40 minutes was huge. They scrambled well to their credit, but now they're just looking very tired.
Yeah, it's always going to take a lot out of young bodies, much as they want to play in every game. By the time they get to next Monday, they will have played 5 games, I think it's 17, 18 days. It's a huge ask, and yes, coaches have to rotate and make sure that game minutes are monitored, but it is immense for these young men in very different surroundings.
Oh, 100% agree with you. And also the pace of this game has been extreme. It has been fast. This French team have really lifted the tempo.
I'm doing my Mexican wave, joining in with these exuberant fans here in Perpignan. As I say, they love their rugby, and right now it's a very buoyant rugby scene in these parts.
Looks like Carbonell's going to have a shot at goal. It's going to be around the 50-metre mark. Inter Max, the one who's got the only score.
Time back on, please.
Well, as cool as please. Just another day at the office, having a bit of fun.
He's grown up with it. That's what Dad used to do for a job.
I actually saw Dad out the back.
Yeah.
It looks very sharp. If I can still play.
I'm sure he can. I think he's coaching, from memory, I think he's back at Toulouse coaching the Espoir, but yeah, class act, Emile Ntamak. And his son looks like a chip off the same block. So Carbonell from 50 metres, almost, I guess, a kick to nothing, takes them back up into the 22, but more points on offer off the tee for the French number 10. Almost, but not quite, had the distance. So the first miss of the match from Louis Carbonell. As New Zealand try and fire themselves up, get this attack going, to link their play up. They really haven't had a chance to motivate that back line, much as those forwards love it, getting ball in hand as they work their way up towards halfway again. Looks like Caleb Trask is in that playmaker role. Plummer moving out, and it's the apology from Villemoni Karoy.
Well, that's a shame because of the nice run from Sione Alci, the replacement. This first time really that New Zealand with their line runners have broken the French defence clean like that in that area.
Here we go.
And Trask had some nice ball to play with. It's a perfect one from him. I think he's really added something. He's been very vocal since he's come onto the field.
Yeah, the Bay of Plenty fly half, slipping in to that pivotal role for his country now. As Craig Philpott tries to mix things up, tries to change the equation, find that breakthrough.
Well, they're going to have to really dig their heels in here at scrum time, New Zealand. Can they hold this strong French scrum? Good initially, and here it comes.
Here comes the power, there's the penalty. Here come France once again as Carbonell tries to slide through. They'll go back for that call.
Looks like we might have an issue, do we, on the far side?
17 on the angle.
No, it's Sione Alci, I think.
17 on the angle. Captain, that's 3 in the scrum now. 3 in the scrum.
Beginning to
17.
dilute the air around this stadium, but it's not diluting France right now in their endeavours to get back into the New Zealand 22. Daniel Brennan about to enter the fray. Talk about impact off the bench. 6'4" and 130 kilos will make some impact, and it certainly won't make things any easier for the New Zealand pack.
Number 3.
Well, coming into this tournament, a lot of reps on this French team. I thought this is going to be the game that will really sort out the real deal, and I think this performance, right from the get-go, really solidifies to me how good they are.
Just listen to this applause for Demba Bamba. What a performance he has put in. The breathe-tight head has given everything for his country this evening and gets a deserved standing ovation.
Well, he's a dead set character, that's for sure. There's Demba Bamba, and you're right, he has been one of their best. He's really lifted the physical tempo with some of his running. That is core responsibility as well. He scrummed beautifully.
Getting the appreciation of his teammates and his coaching team, the support staff delighted with what he has done, and he certainly has lifted his profile.
Well, this is where I've been so impressed with him. For a big man, his carries have been brilliant. Look at them, there's 3 defenders that actually have to take him down. I think that's the beauty. Keeps the legs going again, just bumping off people. You can't send one, you have to send multiple defenders, and that opens up holes elsewhere.
Marshall with plenty of height to find, and once again it's Rocky jumping early at the front as his cohorts, numbers 1 to 8, try and muscle their way a little further forward before Coville sprints out of it. On the charge comes Maxime Marty. 2 tries in the game against Ireland. Now trying to make impact off the bench. Oh, big hit. I'm not sure that Marchand will go into Sayaniasi readily again, but France still banging against that black wall, trying to splinter, trying to find the tired legs, the tired bodies that might just give them opportunity. Ball goes loose, and here comes New Zealand out of the 22. Great cover work from Tozan. This is where the visitors really have to get some cohesion in their attack. I think there's a stop. That's been Amoni Karoy, who's taken a big contact there.
Yeah, it doesn't look well. We put Amoni Karoy.
Time to be a scrum, maybe that ball.
It's got some of the highest return meters or running meters in this tournament so far. So this will be huge. But he's no good to go. Here's the turnover. Good shot put on by Thomas. Good contact. By Reginald Cooper as well.
Yeah, the Saffron hooker has been very evident around the breakdown, done a lot of work in the loose. He's had big pressure in the tight. He's going to get a bit of support though, because that is Kalaro Pasi, Oloya Lakepa. And when you've got 145 kilos coming in alongside you, you should have a bit more ballast when it comes to scrum time.
I think Mafaleo's been out there playing injured for a little while now. He's been holding his ribs for the last 10 or so minutes. That might have contributed to why New Zealand scrum wasn't operated at 100%. Just get the feeling now though, Simon, if New Zealand can find a way to find some points, this next little set, I think the dynamics of this game will totally change.
And we have to refer back to the South Africa game when, of course, France came out of the block so quickly, a point a minute inside the first half an hour, dominant at 36-7 at the break, but South Africa working their way back in and really threatened right up to the final whistle to take the game from them. So, you know, as you rightly say, Cole, get points on the board, and this French confidence could be brittle.
No hands!
Certainly, French tackling has been very active, proactive in most cases, been really working hard to hit that ball carrier. Good work from Billy Proctor, one of the 3 ever presents in the starting lineup for the Baby Blacks so far in this campaign. Karoy and Captain Tom Christie the other. Crowd think there was an issue there with that clear out. There was a forward pass which has stopped the play. Andrea Piardi. Well, we don't want to see any of that from players or coaches alike, but the officials will check back on this action that happened on Laval.
Well, we just need clear heads here. Now it's going to roll on through.
Okay, Graham, is there anything I need to look at there? I believe there's feet to the face, but I'm unsure. Do I need a formal review? Okay.
But there is a stamping action that probably catches him on the top of the arm. Yeah, so I would say that's a penalty against Black.
penalty, only a penalty?
Yes, it's not on a joint and it's not on the head.
Okay.
Television match official Graham Hughes confirming to referee Dixon that it is a penalty to France, but that's all.
Okay, number 21, wait, 21. 21.
There's the La Rochelle second rower. Looking a little bit the worse for wear.
It's going to be a penalty against you.
Jay Renton having a lecture.
What did you say? It's going to be a penalty against him. Stamping on the arm, a foot motion on the arm. Yeah. Okay, so penalty only. Okay, wait. Wait.
I'm sorry, it's just because I see
listen to me. You are on here to deal with people. You are not on here to influence me. If that happens again, we'll get another medical person to take the place. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Passion and emotion coming through the support staff as well. Carl Dixon rightly laying down the law to all and sundry.
Penalty.
You know what? I like the way he dealt with it, though. That was quite a heated moment, but he did it well.
Well, he ticks the boxes, doesn't he? Just goes through it methodically, gets to the right call, conferring with his TMO. Well, Roman Intermac deciding it's his turn now.
Yeah, we can see the last one around about this area is pretty much in the middle of the field through couple now. He didn't really strike it because he was fortunate. I think Intermac's a long ranger, more fluid in his action. It's more natural for him for these longer ones.
On its way, but going to fall just short. Almost, but not quite for Roman Intermac, but still his side in the ascendancy as we hit the hour mark.
I can't remember the last time New Zealand were in the French half in this.
Well, they certainly haven't been in the 22, and it's been a rarity to get out of their half. That's for sure, as Lachlan McQuinnell tries to spark something, but again, I go back to the French tackling, Carl. It is so dominant, the way that they're working, the way that they're organising their line. There's very little space for New Zealand to operate.
Yeah, they've been on point, that's for sure. It's been connected, I suppose, the thing for mine. The team ethos in defence, the covering of each other has been very good. The spacing, as you said, has been brilliant.
Hugo Boniface and Maxime Lamotte into the front row, and a change in the back row as well for New Zealand as Hoskin Satutu comes in.
Stand back on, please.
That front row for the French team getting a healthy applause too, as we see Satutu on there. He can hit, I can guarantee you that. He'll go into the number 6 position.
I'll be interested to see whether it is 6 or 8, because when he came on before, I noticed against, I think it was Australia, he moved into that 8 slot, especially for attacking scrums. Interesting to see how that works out. We'll keep our eye on that as the French pack rediscover their va-va-voom to work up towards halfway. An hour gone and 2 scores to the good. Coville, as ever, directing operations, trying to make the right call. The box kick is tantalisingly placed. The rebound works.
Just a knock-on.
Joseph, who we haven't seen that much of in this second half, still on the park. This is the longest game time he's had for a while. How's that bounce going to work? Great take. That was a fantastic take from Karoy with an awkward swirling wind. Kept totally focused on the task in hand.
It was a good option once again, though, that cross kick, which has worked for them a couple of times. I thought he called the mark, obviously not. But once again, France now, will the drive come, has been effective so far in the 22 of New Zealand. They've had a mortgage down here.
Yeah, they can afford to build their own clubhouse down here. Such has been the time they've spent in opposition territory.
No!
Or maybe a Gite. Lamotte, once again, hits the target. The French line-out, for the most part, has been very efficient and effective.
Penalty advantage!
Penalty call again goes to the team in white. Coming through with intent is Aloya Lakepa.
Contact in the air, you're good, you're fine.
It's contact in the air for the liner. That's what the penalty's for. Pulling him down. Nothing wrong, actually come through the hindmost, so that's fine. The penalty was for that, so this, you'd have to say you take the penalty. Squeeze it out. Time off the clock. It's becoming an issue now for this New Zealand team.
7.
Well, I'm hesitant to bring up history, but
on the 15.
the only time that New Zealand have failed to,
that's a lot of penalties in a row
indeed
now.
failed to reach the semi-final was Manchester a couple of years ago. Ended up 5th. And history does sometimes weigh heavily on teams, I know, much as it is, for the most part, a new selection, a new year group. Both of these two teams, of course, have come through the schools system, been playing with each other for a number of years, so should be familiar with their teammates. Carbonell back with the short club stuff. And he's back on form, back in action. And with 16 minutes left, France have a 16-point advantage. 3 scores to the good now.
Well, Carbonell has been new influence to me. That really has marshaled this team around the park. He's just been such a cool customer, the way he's gone about business, and he's put his team in the right ends in the field, in the right areas at the right time.
And sometimes it is that game management that's under pressure most for these young guys, isn't it? When you get a pressure situation like they're playing in right now, to be able to control the game like he has done. There's the unforced error from New Zealand, and it really ain't going their way this evening, that's for sure.
Yeah, just compounding issues now, isn't it? Having to chase the game.
2 black.
You can't get frustrated.
2.
Try and steer up the scrum, put some pressure on.
Ricky Jackson in to replace Flynn Thomas. The Southland hooker really has worked so hard. Sometimes in reverse, but always with 100% heart and commitment.
He's been one of their best, that's for sure, on this night. The young man right there, big future ahead of him, that's for sure. I want to see Joseph off the back. I really, really do. Do it 8-9, see what you got.
Well, Joseph has been, he had 47 minutes against Ireland, admittedly off the bench. 57 minutes against Georgia, and then just a half against South Africa. So they're obviously controlling his game time. But this is the longest he's put in, but he really does make such an impact. Look at that. Oh, well, they have been into the 22, but I think it was only a half step, if that. It really has been that's quite remarkable statistic, as we're looking quarter of an hour from the end of a game, for a New Zealand team not to have got themselves into an attacking opportunity inside that 22.
I suppose that's the thing. New Zealand team hasn't really fired a shot, especially in the second half. They haven't been allowed to be honest. So as we said, the game management from Louis Carbonell has just been too good. To be fair, he's had a lot of good front foot ball with the running of Bamba, Jordan Joseph as well.
Your mind goes back, Carl, to Tbilisi 12 months ago, when, of course, these two met in that semi-final. It's so different, with New Zealand racing into a 36-0 lead with some brilliant rugby, handful of tries. And then back came France. It ended up 39-26 in the end. This is a totally different, but still totally engaging game.
Oh, it's definitely been a street scrap, that's for sure. It's been a physical encounter. You knew it was always going to be. I think that's the beauty of it. And that's why I've been so impressed.
I knew it was going to be tight. I didn't think it would play out like this, though. Did you, honestly?
No, I didn't. I thought there'd be a lot more tries than it, that's for sure. But you've got to give it to this French team. They have manned up physically. I think that's what's given them this handy lead.
Once again, the French pack is in forward gear as Joseph comes round on the rumble. Substitutes trying to make an impact now. Hugo Boniface, the buy-on prop, the little chip through from Carbonell, but just uses the wrong club on that occasion.
I think the difference between the two teams is France are going one more pass wider and getting in those far channels, and they're finding a bit of room, bit of space, and the option with the kick in behind didn't work that time from Carbonell. But look at the numbers, look at these options he's got behind there of Inter making. I give it the short ball, which he probably should have done to Laporte, but he used the kick, and I think that's been the difference.
And the manipulation then of the ball makes the most of the areas that they're working in, and you saw they almost setting up that 3-on-2 in the 15-metre channel. I mean, it's well, maybe simple stuff, but it's sometimes difficult to do in these tight conditions. New Zealand looking for something, trying to find the fire to light that rocket, to light that attack.
They'll be through the gate.
Yeah, I don't think you need to rush here or tap kick. Just go to the corner, try and settle down and execute your lineup. This is the moment New Zealand really need to make their run.
The interesting calls from Captain Tom Christie now. The Canterbury back rower is really going to have to put his thinking cap on as to what they need to do step by step, as you say, Carl, because you cannot just run at this. You've got to be methodical about getting yourselves back in the game if you can.
They've gone short line out for the majority of this game. They're going to go there again. I wouldn't mind seeing the drive. They've had hardly any ball to play with. I know they like to play wide to wide.
Jackson, the Otago hooker, hits his target and it's straight into that midfield with Satutu. Quick presentation, and now they have a look and explore down the left, seeing what the opportunities are to get into the 22. New Zealand rediscover their passports and actually make a visit into enemy territory. Can they set up camp, and can they make a dent on that scoreboard? When was the last time we came up to 70 minutes on the clock and New Zealand still had not broken the bagel? I can't remember that in this tournament.
Numbers left, they can shift it here, Simon.
Loading up to the left, the huge rainbow pass. Has it got a pot of gold on it? Caleb Clark's trying to make it happen. Quick presentation, opportunity here for New Zealand. Plummer going for it and getting it. And just before the 70th minute mark, New Zealand are on the board.
And that's better from this New Zealand team. Some good running, Hoskins Satutu, very key. Then they do the back ball. He's been prominent since he's been on the field. Caleb Clark with the nice header. Look at the captain at the boot of this one, give this ball out to Plummer, and that's been the secret. Finally they get some quick ruck ball. They haven't had it for the majority of the night. That's the nice pass by Caleb Trask, just to get it all started initially. Good clean out, good bridge, good release, try time.
Well, how does that change things? I'll tell you what though, these 2 points are vital for the try scorer. He has got to make this kick count if they're going to push themselves back in. Harry Plummer hits plumb centre, and New Zealand work themselves back into the mix in this one. 10 minutes to go now. 9 points the difference. Oh boy, have we got a finishing prospect.
Yeah, they've got a heartbeat, New Zealand. Nice hit up by Caleb Clark, finally finding some room, and finished off nicely by Harry Plummer, who had a lot to do. Now, what will the French do? How will they cope with this pressure?
Well, I refer back to that South Africa game again, and you wonder how they will find the threat to their confidence, and it's no more than that at the moment with the scoreboard as it is. Looks like Entomac's being helped off in back play now. There's more cause for concern for the French team as that little dab kick sets up for Karoy. The offload is there, and here come New Zealand. So many numbers. McQuarnell striding out, gets the lob pass back in. Proctor brought down. Alarm bells ringing in the French defence. Pressure coming through, pays off, but my goodness me, was that a golden moment for New Zealand?
Time off.
And what about the break, the option? In behind by Plummer. Vitamoni picks it up beautifully, but the handling, the support play, absolutely brilliant. Ball into space.
Time's off.
Trask staying
When we kick
in
off.
support. The big man chucks it over. Mick Quinnell. Oh, this is a big miss though for New Zealand. This is a try all day long. It goes through the hands. You've got to give it to the scrambling defence of France though there. You really, really do, Simon.
But New Zealand will be absolutely kicking themselves for not getting 2 tries inside 2 minutes, which could have changed the course of this game. Adrien Segure on into that French midfield now. No rush for France, but New Zealand trying to get things moving at a different gear.
Just amazing, just the change in mindset and the dynamic. That movement, just totally different. And look at that, yeah, you're right. Jordan Joseph getting back the big number 8 for France. He has had a blinder.
Early.
Joseph putting in a very important tackle. They're going to get the free kick now. And maybe, just maybe, they can draw back as Pierre-Henry has a goal. Desperate to get in to finish things off for his team. The flag has gone up, I think. Has it? I thought Andrea Piardi put his flag up there, but New Zealand are playing on. Well, setting up their stall just inside the French half. So Tutu, as you say, a big dynamic back rower that's trying to make a difference now to the New Zealand course. Trask. Again, Kuroi able to get that ball through the tackle. This time, though, Christie is pulled into touch, and France left trying to pull the oxygen out of the air here at the Stade Michiral. New Zealand have really upped the ante now.
No.
Kuroi been very prominent with their comeback as well, but look how he come off his initial tackle, toes on.
Subs. Okay.
You see Charlie Francouz, the Stade Francais back rower, wearing 20 there. Coming on to provide a little bit more energy, perhaps, to the country's cause. 7 minutes left, in which France have to hold out so that they can take their place in Sunday's final against England. Big line out for Lamont. Again, it's Woki and Joseph and Berruyer have had immense games in that French back row.
16.
Getting the call, Ricky Jackson has come round in the wrong place at the wrong time.
16, side entry. 16,
well, I think they always knew they had the penalty advantage, so no need to force that, and that might be big going forward. Hopefully he's good to go if France are able to progress in tarmac.
Well, I'm not going to curse Sunday's final, but inevitably, if it is England-France, the memories of the Six Nations clash, which was at Béziers, that England won 22-6 and France had 2 players sent off, will come into that match play. But let's not talk about that now. That's a subplot if it happens. New Zealand now have just over 5 minutes to try and make a difference. They're going to have to do it without Vilamoni Kuroi, because he's been pulled.
6 is already gone. So
Jamie Spowett is going to come on wearing 23. As the benches are emptied, Will Tremaine, there he is. Member of a famous All Black family, grandson of Kel Tremaine, one of the really great names of New Zealand rugby.
That's good.
France now trying to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are in place and tightened. No room for mistakes. The power drive again coming on from the home forwards. It has been relentless. There was an arm wrestle really at the beginning. But since then, France seem to have established their forward mojo. There's a goal. Spins out of one, takes the contact of another before just making sure the presentation is good for his team into the final 5 of this semi-final. History in the making for Les Bleus. Little chip over the top. Chases there, great work from Billy Proctor. Proctor assured under pressure and now trying to spark his team from deep inside their 22. Big hits coming through, France throwing their bodies to the cause. Carbonell is down in back play now. As the Baby Blacks try and find a route to market that is going to stretch 83 metres. The handoff from Sotutu. Working their way out. Props involved. Caleb Clark trying to find the shortest way straight through a French defender. New Zealand on halfway, threatening once again. Have they got enough time? Can they change that scoreboard? Christie looking for the offload. Passes there to Spower, but the ball goes out. Well, Spower, the leading try scorer for New Zealand this campaign, hat-trick in that first game against Japan. And still in back play, Louis Carbonell is having attention. He thinks he's been hit.
Doesn't look good, does it? Does not look good for the number 10 in the hamstring area.
We're playing.
He keeps intimating that they should look at this on the screen. It's not going to happen, but quite sure what happened. So Intermac and Carbonell. Well, Carbonell is having that right thigh strapped and is going to limp his way back into position for these last 3 minutes.
Four.
Just, he'll be hoping he doesn't do any further damage to himself with Sunday in mind, if that's going to be an issue. It's not an issue for the French line-out. Once again, they do the job, and once again, they mangle their way up towards the 22 and get the call.
Well, they really haven't had an answer for their rolling maul all night. New Zealand has been the go-to for this French team.
17.
Like I said, when you got guaranteed balls such as that, very tough to stop.
Let's kick 9.
Well, the call is for Allez les Bleus. It should be Allez les Blancs this evening, but it really doesn't matter because the nationalistic pride is at fever pitch. It's absolutely
Time off.
torrential as it rolls its way down the stands onto the pitch.
Here you go, Jean-Marc.
Well, it really has been a test match in every sense of the word. It's been physical, it's been brutal, there's been some outstanding play. Great game management.
That's Jules Gambert, the replacement scrum half, coming on so that Carbonell does no further injury to himself. Presume that Gambert will fill into that fly-half role, or will Coville? Coville is saying, I'm the captain, you go into 10. Great work from the Toulon youngster. What a performance he's put in. 90 seconds left for France to hold out. Surely now they've done enough. Of course, with Rugby World Cup 2023 just coming into vision at the back of the calendar, rugby is going to increase its profile in this country even more. Many of these young guys may well be part of that particular campaign. Who knows? They may be going to Japan next year. Well, the big unit's doing the job around the breakdown. The Marseillaise rings around the Stade Migiral, signalling success, signalling happiness. For New Zealand, well, this is a new feeling. They're going to be battling for bronze for the first time ever. Proctor desperately trying to make some headway. They're in the 22. Ball slipped out, back door to Jackson. Oh, but there, well, if that doesn't exemplify perhaps New Zealand's evening, that pass that ricocheted off Sionias's forehead. The countdown is on to the final whistle. The clock goes red. The Stade Émile Giral goes red, white and blue. Waiting for the moment. New Zealand keep going, but now that's it, it's over. France have turned the tables from Tbilisi. They are going to first foot into the World Rugby Under-20 Championship final on Sunday. It's going to be Le Crunch in Béziers. Full-time score, New Zealand 7, France 16. Stunned faces in the New Zealand camp, ecstatic faces for anybody linked to French rugby right now. Carl, you have to say, a deserved win for the homeboys.
Well, they played with passion, they played with physicality, but they played smart, and that's the thing that stood out for mine. The four-pack deserved the credit for this win. Really did lay the platform for this performance tonight. There is going to be a new champion in this World Rugby Under-20 Championship. Is it going to be England? Is it going to be the home team? But thoroughly deserved the 80-minute performance, no doubt about that. But this New Zealand team can keep their heads held high. They were outstanding in defence, especially their first 40 minutes, but they weren't allowed to get into their natural game. But the lessons that they'll learn coming away from an experience like this to further their careers will be huge.
At 3-0 at the break at the turn, you wondered whether New Zealand could change things round, but the credit to the home side is that they kept going through those gears and kept all those basics working so well.
And that's the thing, they played smart. They turned this big New Zealand team around. They made them scramble for everything. They got them fatigued, and then they struck with a beautiful try, the first one of this game, this French side. You have to say a very professional effort put together by them.
Well, both teams showing due respect to each other. They know what this semi-final was about, how tough it was. Test rugby, very, very evident. And really, the big smiles are ear to ear for all those involved with the French group. It has been absolutely immense. Romain Intimac showing the beauty and the delight. But let's hear from the New Zealand camp. Rory Lawson is talking to Tom Christie.
Tom, how much of tonight was coming up against an unstoppable force in France, and how much was it your own mistakes?
Oh, I don't think we can credit to our own mistakes, but I'm immensely gutted at the result, but I'm very far from disappointed with my lads. My lads played with a lot of heart and a lot of pride. I think we were unlucky sometimes, and yes, some of our mistakes were at times our errors, but I can't fault my boys. My boys played with some immense pride out there, and it was really tough, and that's just credit to the French. They're an amazing outfit, and when you make mistakes, they will punish you.
And you kept fighting for the 80 minutes. What were the key factors within that game that were the difference between the two teams today?
I think the fact that we kept fighting for 80 minutes shows our immense heart and our pride for our country and the passion for the game. No, rugby's a game that you never want to lose, but it's got that competitive edge. So we know there's always going to be a winner and a loser, and sometimes you end up on the wrong side, but I can't credit French enough. They're an immensely tough side, and facing them at home was always going to be a tough job.
Tom, your team fought very proudly for the New Zealand jersey tonight. Commiserations, put yourselves back together, and good luck in the third place playoff.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yep, New Zealand will be up against South Africa for that bronze medal in Béziers. on Sunday. But for France, it's going to be a different experience. Let's get reaction from their camp as we hear from Daniel Brennan.
Daniel, an amazing occasion here at the Stade Aimé Giral. What are your overwhelming emotions right now?
I can't say, absolutely bloody delighted. Team put in such a good effort against South Africa. We said we're coming back today, you know, and we had an absolute cracker of a game. Playing against probably one of the best countries in the world. And, you know, to come out with the win today, the supporters are absolutely amazing, so absolutely delighted.
What were the key things today that you need to grab a hold of and carry on to the final now?
Just keep being aggressive in defence. Always attack their defence, and then just speed all the way. When we have the ball, just fast. That's the way we like to play, you know, speed.
And you play England in the final. How big an occasion is that going to be, and how special is it going to be going out in front of your home supporters in that final?
Oh, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. All the boys are already pumped. Mindset is already there now on next Sunday, so it's going to be a tough game, we know that, but we're going to be there.
It was an incredible performance. Congratulations. Enjoy the final. Enjoy this evening first and foremost.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Gallic delight expressed with an Irish accent. Such is the nature of this wonderful tournament. And yeah, France are really going to enjoy the moment for now, but then in 5 days' time, they are going to have to sort themselves out and focus on the challenge ahead, because it is going to be huge in Béziers. South Africa up against New Zealand for that bronze, and then Le Crunch, England against France at the Stade de la Méditerranée in Béziers. Join us then for what will be a very, very special occasion and some more special memories. Special memories here at the Stade Aimé Giral as France beat New Zealand 16 points to 7. Good night.
Avec les Bleus ce soir, avec un jeu superbe. L'équipe de France face à l'Angleterre. Ce sera l'affiche de la finale de ce championnat du monde. Moins de 20 ans. Du côté de Béziers.